Okay, we are open for Ask Us Anything. Who's the brave soul that wants to go first?
Do we want to do raise hands on the app, or do you have a preference, or just jump in?
I have no preference, Jamie. Do you want to do you set the rules?
You know I'm such a rule follower.
I know.
Jessie doesn't know how to raise the hand like this, Jess. No, I'm just teasing. I'm just under the participants, if you click on participants, and I don't know, there's some way to raise hands under the participant link, I thought, or maybe it's under more. Anyway, let's just jump in.
I like it. Okay, so I'm gonna mute everybody, and when you want to speak, you have to unmute yourself.
Oh, Linda posted a great question.
Okay.
What is the difference between fate and destiny?
Ooh, I like that one.
Ooh, Jessie found the hand raise button too. Good job.
Good job. Okay. So the difference between fate and destiny. First, so fate is essentially what you are born into. So when we look at the line of fate, we're looking at what did you inherit in your DNA? Where were you born? Were you born in the United States? Were you born in India? Were you born in Japan? Were you born into a city that is pretty safe? Were you born into a really crime-ridden area? Were you born into a rich family, a poor family, single parent, two parents? So fate is all of everything that you're born into, that you come into. Destiny is what you choose to make of your life. So it's kind of like you have these two books, and the first book is fate, and that's all that stuff that you're born into, that you're born with. And then destiny is what you decide to do with all of that, and you can change your fate, right? I'm born into a family that has a tendency to die of heart disease and things like that. Now, there's a lot of factors that go into heart disease. I can change that fate if I pay attention to things like how much I exercise and what I eat and how I live my life, and whether or not I express my emotions instead of stuffing them and things like that. So fate and destiny, fate is what you're born into, and destiny is what you create.
So I would sum that up as fate is prescribed, destiny is available opportunity. Destiny isn't clearly written. Fate is, but that doesn't mean we can't change it. Like, we can go in and rewrite our Akashic records. It's all in what your intention is and how you interact with those sets of energies. Are you a victim of them, or do you learn and create out of them?
Exactly. That's the simplified answer.
Jess, what's your question?
I didn't realize that it didn't automatically go back down.
Do you have a question?
Oh, I have lots, but I don't want to. They're like personal questions, so.
Anything goes tonight, so feel free to throw one at us.
Has my cat Time been with me before, like Kuman has? Or Hathor, as she likes to be called?
I love that. I didn't know she liked to be called Hathor. I love her even more now. So for me, Hathor is, because that's totally what I'm going to call her from now on. She and Time have actually had like an interwoven relationship with each other and you, and they've shown up in other forms. They've both been birds. They've actually both been dragons too, and they show up for you when you need them most. They also show up for each other. Like they have a relationship of give and take, even though it's sometimes annoying for both of them, that they're really kind of dependent on each other energetically across time and space.
That's awesome because it's hilarious after this whole last incident. Like Hathor is over time, like 100%. She's hissing at her, like, get away from me, leave me alone. And Time's just like, but I want to mess with you. So that's awesome.
Robin, do you get anything else on that?
What I got was, this is the first time that Hathor's been with you in this lifetime, but not the first time with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Doug has a question. Go ahead, Doug, and take yourself off mute.
What is my affinity for Japan?
Ooh. So remember that time that you were the samurai blacksmith? You made all the swords for samurai soldiers, but you were really pissed because you were like, I want to be a soldier. How come I can't be a soldier? They make me make these swords. And you were so good at it. And you enchanted the sword as you were melding it. But it really kind of rubbed you the wrong way because you wanted to be out like using the sword instead of creating them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was the very first thing I got, was samurai, was the connection to the samurai, and that's that interwoven with Japan is the samurai and the desire to be samurai, and that you were with them around, like Jamie's talking, the forging of the swords, like there was all this interplay, and so it's the samurai connection.
Mm-hmm. Shogun? Does the word Shogun do anything for you?
Honestly, it makes me hungry, and I don't know if it makes me hungry like physically want to eat, or like hungry for something like power.
Uh-huh.
Why are you giggling at me being hungry? Just because it's all the time? What?
Does it make you hungry? Is Shogun a musical? Isn't there a musical by that name? Or I don't know. Maybe
There's
not.
Like there's a movie called Shogun.
It was a miniseries, right?
Yeah, that was like amazing. I can remember watching it growing up.
Uh-huh. Yeah, my tarot cards have led me in that direction.
Cool.
I was stationed in Japan for 4.5 years when I was in the Air Force, and I felt like I was at home.
I was just say, did it feel really familiar? Because
Oh,
it was
yeah.
home to you at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kyoto, I think, is where I was before, past life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really had a homey feeling.
Awesome. All right. Linda says, when should I listen to my higher self? Higher spirit. So when should I listen to my higher spirit, higher self? Can I change my spiritual DNA? Linda, you can change your physical DNA in addition to your spiritual DNA. So I firmly live, not only believe, but live the path that has evidenced to me that we are absolutely capable of creating anything we desire. And if that is changing our DNA, it's well within our grasp.
Yeah. And when should you listen to your higher self? Only 100% of the time.
Okay, so what's the difference between listening to my higher self and spirit or God or creator or whatever?
Yeah. So the voice of your higher self is that voice that is connected to the divine creator, God, however you want to define that.
Okay.
And you will, over the course of hanging with Robin and me, learn to really discern between your higher self and intuition and a different energy. So like Doug's energy came in, it doesn't feel at all like mine. So that's a process that you're going to get really good at.
That's good. Okay.
T has a question. If she can get herself off mute. There it is.
There you
Not
go.
great at Zoom. I'm sorry. I'm getting there.
Wait, I have to tell Robin, this girl, she's so funny. She's like, oh shit, I might have to get Facebook to play along with all this stuff.
I was really excited to see it was Zoom because I at least have that. But my question is, I feel like I've been really struggling with kind of what path to take in life. I feel like I'm at like a pretty big crossroads and there's a few options I can take. And I'm kind of frozen a little bit on what option would be maybe the best option for my higher self. We'll say it like that.
So part of the frozen part is because you're stuck on trying to make the right decision, and there is no wrong decision here. Because whichever path you take is gonna get you where you need to go. It's gonna get you to where your higher self wants to take you. So all of those paths are open to you right now, and there is no wrong answer. The other piece of that is that follow the one that lights you up the most. Follow the one that has you giggling the most, the one that has you having the most fun, the one that just like feels like it's pulling you in at the same time that you're kind of leaning towards it, that it's like pulling at you too.
Can I add a little to that? Making that choice, it's easy to take the path of least resistance. That's not the path that is most fulfilling and really gets you to where you want to be. So choosing the path that's a little bit harder and the one that lights you up is what's going to move you to the place that you see yourself going. Like, it's not about where you're getting to though, it's the journey. And that super easy path, that's not going to stretch you and allow you to grow. So, hey, you can take it and then 8 years from now, call us and say, yeah, so that path, I'm kind of back where I was. And I'm thinking maybe I'll take a different path this time. I mean, I exaggerate with 8 years, but be really intentional about choosing based on what resonates for you, not what seems easy.
Okay. Thank you.
You're like, yeah, thanks a lot, you two bitches. You told me it's going to be hard.
Everything's hard. I expected that.
And it doesn't have to be hard. Like,
No.
even though you choose the path that's not the easy path, you can still make it fun and work through the things that should be hard in a quick, easy, efficient way. All right, great question.
Yeah, good question.
Matt wants to know who or what the orb was that I got a picture of on Saturday. I saw the picture, so go ahead, Robin.
Well, I'm a little confused, so I'm just going to give what first came to me because often it doesn't make any sense to me. But the first thing that came to me was Santa Claus. So I don't know if that connects to a person for you that may be dressed like Santa Claus, but I got Santa Claus.
I actually got a grandfather energy as soon as you asked the question. So I don't know, maybe your grandfather was like that blessing in your life. I hope, I mean, I
Does that
had one
make
who
sense
was and
to
one
you,
who
Matt?
wasn't. So
That one kind of does. Grandfather. I always thought it was my grandmother, but they all died in my parents' house, and I used to see it growing up in the childhood room I grew up all the time.
And it may be that it came through as Santa Claus for me because that's that grandfathery, like it's that energy. It was the energy that came through, and I was like, Santa? Really?
I mean, he could have. I was young, really, really young. I'm surprised I remember him at all.
Did your brothers see?
No, I was the only one that ever seen it.
He
Because
also told me a story about how he was sleeping on the couch one time and he got woken up feeling like someone fell on him. So he thought
I'm a
that
heavy
it was
sleeper.
he
Something
thought it
woke
was
me
his
up.
grandpa. Stop it.
cool. So maybe he hung out with us on Saturday.
Right.
Possibly, yeah.
Well, and he was a farmer, right?
Yes.
So why wouldn't he come hang out at the farm with us?
He was probably having a ball.
Yeah, right? All right, Linda said that she's not understanding grids. She listened yesterday. Do grids always include crystals? Not necessarily.
No.
At Rhythmia, they talked about shaman creating a grid in Maloka. I don't know what Maloka is, so you can educate us on that, to protect us during ceremony. I am feeling I need to create a crystal grid in my backyard with crystals where I want to build a labyrinth.
Yeah, the Maloka is just where we all were during ceremony.
Cool.
And they didn't want us to leave because they said the protection or the magic or the experience was in the Maloka, not out on the hammock. And I want to put a labyrinth in my backyard, but people keep talking about grids and crystals and energy. And I'm not sure what that labyrinth looks like, but I think I need to do some kind of grid thing, just kind of in preparation or helping me decide what I'm going to do.
So I'm seeing some structure of the outline of the labyrinth
Okay.
with crystals to start to unify the energy. And then after the energy is started to take form, putting crystals within the labyrinth.
Yeah, because there's all kinds of different shapes and sizes, and I have to measure because my depth perception is not real good. But somehow it's going to happen, and the crystals are telling me they want to go help. I don't
Yeah,
know.
and so like when the shaman creates a grid in the Maloka, the
Mhm.
shaman is creating an energetic grid. So you don't have to have the physical crystal present to use it in a grid. It can be that energy. And when creating like a grid of protection that the shaman creates, that's about calling in sacred space and the spirits that are coming in to help create that energetic grid as well. And then there's also an overlay. Energetically, you can create an overlay of sacred geometry and crystals and things like
Like
that too.
You're
So
doing like lines or
yeah, yes, it can be like that. So it really just depends on what you want to create. And the more time that you spend with it, Linda, the clearer and clearer it's going to get to you. The more that you just allow it to come into you of what the energy that you're wanting to create from the labyrinth, then the crystals that want to be a part of that will show up for you as well.
so sometimes when I'm trying to create, where I'm going to live or a situation that's coming up, kind of like intentions, I try to figure out how I want to feel
Yes,
in that space.
exactly.
Or, when I go to see my son, rather than being all, then I want to be calm.
Hmm. And as
I'm
you
trying to send out
connect
an
with,
energy. Yeah.
yeah, as you connect with the energy that you want that labyrinth to express, then it's going to show you the layout that will that will provide that, and the crystals to bring in. And so you start with the energy that you're seeking to create, and then let it show you its form.
Okay, thank you.
Anthony has a question.
Thank you. Wow, you remembered Anthony. I just realized it was saying Tony.
Oh, well, in all transparency, I have a kid named Anthony who only my uncle, my great uncle actually, is allowed to call Tony. I'm not his girlfriend's nobody. So sorry,
No.
you're Anthony to me.
That's great. I'm working on that. Oh my gosh. So this feels like a very silly question, but I suppose some outside validation is probably what I'm seeking. So I have made meditation a regular part of my spiritual practice. And sometimes, especially as I've been more consistent with my meditation, I feel like I'm being like guided, meaning guided into a space or guided into whatever type of feeling. But most recently, I was just kind of playing with it, and I said, "Oh, what would it be like to tap into the Akashic records?" And so before I started my meditation, that's the intention that I set. And for just a brief moment, I kind of went into it, and then all of a sudden, like, I got what I was seeking. Like from an image all the way down to when I was done, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got to go journal this. And that has happened twice for me. And is that possible to tap into the Akashic records with no training? No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Okay.
Like I did it my whole life without knowing what I was doing. And then when I went to a seminar, I was like, oh, these things have a name? Oh, who knew? So yeah, you're totally like you're in there.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Doug, what's your question?
So at the retreat, we did that passed over relative thing, and the lady that was with me, Jen, she described my grandmother to a T. But in my cards and pendulum, I've come to the belief that my grandmother's back on Earth. So how do you reconcile these two thoughts, that she's on Earth and still standing right behind me?
So souls are energy, and they're not fully contained in these flesh bags that we're all wandering around in. So that fractionalized energy can easily come back, even though they've incarnated again into another life here on Earth. Your energetic connection to her doesn't dissipate because she reincarnates.
So both things could be true then, huh?
Absolutely. Mhm.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's something new.
So I'm going to hit some of these questions that Lisa sent in ahead of time. What country or countries would you recommend visiting for a profound spiritual experience? Well,
So I think that's a super individualized question. Like, yeah, there are the spiritual hotspots. Like, Robin, remember when the first time we went to Sedona and I came, I'm like, Robin, look at my hand on the bed. It only does that at home when it's static electricity. I didn't sleep for days. And I've had similar experiences here in Northeastern Pennsylvania, and there's not really like a popular energy vortex here. So when your soul is ready to have those profound experiences, often opportunities to visit places will seek you out.
very true. And one of the reasons that we have such profound experiences when we travel is because we are more relaxed we have let go of kind of the daily grind of stuff that usually is wearing on us. And so we're more open to receiving. We're more open to having those experiences a lot of times when we travel. You can have that profound experience in your bathroom, right? It's you don't have to leave home.
You just ruined the whole romantic idealization that we have about profound experiences.
I know. But it's wherever your spirit calls you, right? Like if you have a real connection to a past life like Doug and his past life with Japan and the samurai, then by all means go to Japan and experience and like immerse yourself in the culture, because it's only going to open that up more. For me, going to Peru was really profound because of the experiences that I had there that connect to my shamanic training and the roots that I was remembering, right? So it's really, it can happen anywhere, and it's very personal. It's really opening yourself up to it. And like Jami said, when you're open to it, it'll show up for you.
So there are also energetic ley lines on the globe that support your experiences in different locations. Actually, T, was it you that I told we should do an astrocartography session?
No, I think that was Kelby.
Oh, and she's like, but I'll do it anyway.
Yeah,
right?
I'll still do it.
Like, who doesn't want to?
But that's some good, it's just information. It's not a definitive answer about where you need to go. It just is more information for you to make a decision about what the next place is for you to visit.
Right, but there are places in the world that are considered to be wakas, places of power, right? Like Sedona, Stonehenge, places where that have historically been used for sacred purposes. Those are power places. And often they are where the ley lines meet naturally, and so that can enhance experiences to go to those places.
I think we should add Stonehenge to the list, everyone, by the way. Robin, can you see Bethany's question? There's someone she's been wanting to receive a message from, and she's wondering if we're getting any message for her.
So Bethany, I get like the do the thing, and then I got the Nike symbol with just do it. So whatever you've been thinking about, the message that I'm getting that's coming through is go for it, do the thing.
So I'm getting a message from somebody who feels like a friend that has passed, and that friend is, there are a lot of voices in my head, so let me just pick out the one. That friend is like this person. Maybe it's not a friend. That's for you to decide. But this person is showing up with a bag, like they want to make a gift to you. And they're saying that they have a regret about something they held back from you during their lifetime. And it's really important for them to deliver this gift. They want you to open to receive the gift, even though you're not going to get like a physical gift in your hand that has a pretty bow on it. Maybe you will. But generally, that's not how those gifts come in. Open to receive the gift, whatever it is, whether it's forgiveness or compassion or love. Let that percolate and flow in for you. Hope that was helpful. Bethany took herself off mute. Do you have a comment?
I just wanted to say thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Linda, do I have spirit guides helping me? Of course you do, sister. They're not going to ignore you. You might ignore them, but we all do sometimes, so that's okay. Spirit animals. Who are they? What do they look like? So Yes, you also have spirit animals. The spirit animal that, Robin, just tell me to shut up if I'm talking
You
too much.
go, you're on a roll here.
The spirit animal that pops in for you is an African gray. Like, I think it's a parrot. And don't they have like crazy long lifespans, like 100+ years or something wild like that?
Yeah.
That energy pops in for you as one of your spirit animals. Now, we all have different spirit animals, especially based on what we need in the moment and what we're going through. What they look like and how they interact with you is a very personal journey. And sometimes they do come through and share something through a channel or a medium or a psychic.
But how do I hear
Because-
them?
Well, that's a process. So sometimes people are really good at hearing them right away. Other times it takes a little more work because we have all of these beliefs and structures that we have to work through before we can hear that. But setting the intention is a really great way to start connecting with them. If you meditate, ask them to meet you in meditation and give you information. Ask for a sign. And then open to the sign and receive it. Like I had one client, I tell this story all the time. This girl says to me, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm doing all the things you told me and I'm not getting anything. I said, okay, tell me what you're doing. She's like, I'm meditating and I'm talking to my guides and I asked them to make squirrels cross my path. And I was like, have you seen squirrels? And she goes, yeah, I came out in the morning. There's one on the porch, one on my car, running all around the yard, but none of them crossed the path. I was like, you're getting what you asked for. So it's that simple of a block that sometimes people don't recognize that they actually are receiving what they're asking. So try it. Also journal. If you know how to free write, that's another way to connect with your guides. If you don't know how to free write, we're going to work on that at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah, the
Well,
other thing.
I have
Go
a
ahead, Linda.
belief that if you ask for proof, then you don't have the faith that it's coming.
Asking for a message and asking for proof aren't necessarily the same thing. So if you ask for a sign or a symbol, that's a message. That's not like firm proof that they're communicating with you, because you are a factor in it and you have to receive it and interpret it.
Okay.
And with spirit guides and animal spirits, invite them into your space and interact with them. You know, it's kind of like they're there for you, but it's this person that's been hanging, or this animal that's been hanging out in your home, in your space with you, that you've never acknowledged, that you've never interacted with, and you want them to like have this big conversation with you. Well, you have to start by acknowledging that they're present, by inviting them in, acknowledging them, and begin the relationship just like you would anytime you're beginning a new relationship. There's introductions and maybe you share a meal, and so there's
A little courting.
right? Exactly. There's a little courting involved. So it's often we want to jump to like, oh, best friends for life without the intermediary steps there.
Yeah, Allison actually had a similar question. Okay, I don't know how we got to Allison's spirit guide, but Allison she had a cursory introduction to a spirit guide who came through, and I was like, all right, this is what they got. You got to go do the rest. Here you go, sister. And she said that she met him in meditation today, and cool, you're building the relationship, Allison.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
It was so awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Beautiful.
So Jesse and Matt said, do our guides have any messages on how to get unstuck from our current living situation?
Okay, this parallels with Matt's other question about Matt wanting to know his spirit animal. So I'm gonna kind of answer both at the same time, and then Jamie's gonna jump in too, because I know she's got stuff to say. But so Matt, you've got this serpent with you, and it's the great serpent of the jungle. What are those called? Those gigantic ones. There was a movie,
Pythons?
Anaconda. There we go.
Oh,
So there's this huge serpent, and part of what serpent teaches us to shed our past the way that she sheds her skin, right? And so part of that is letting go of the past all at once, letting go of old stories, old beliefs, because it's time for the new. And if you don't let go of the past, it will literally constrict the serpent until she dies, right? So you have to let that go. The other thing that the anaconda is really showing me is how she eats, which is like she takes it all in all at once and then lets it digest. So it's like this big movement forward instead of trying to work it all out before you do it. Your turn.
so what lands for me is the belief that you are stuck and that you are choosing not to have choices. Honestly, that's probably a harsher answer than I would give a stranger because I love both of you. That's what you got from me, right?
We love you. We get it.
Any other way?
Yep.
So starting to excavate that belief that you're stuck is the place to start. And you guys have been cultivating enough tools that you are able to start taking steps forward in faith and trust without worrying about where those steps are going, just like Robin said. And I also find it really interesting that anaconda or serpent came in after that crazy thing you were telling me about snakes in Walmart.
Right?
Yeah, no surprise there.
He used to wear his ball python to Walmart
Oh,
because we both had snakes throughout our life. Yeah, so he used to take his to Walmart because he's extra.
I did look into that, by the way, Doug.
You did?
Yeah.
We could chat about it. All right, and then spirit animals, guides' names, penguins. So Jesse, the penguin is yours,
Yeah,
and you want to know what its name is?
yeah. If it's willing to share it with me, because I don't know any of my guides' names, but I feel like knowing it would help me address them better for me, like writing, because I'm learning how to free write, and it's hard for me to just free write. So I feel like if I could write to someone.
So that's what they want you to write about. Like, start writing. What is your name? What shall I call you? How shall I address you? What's the best way for me to reach you? How do you want me to talk to you? Like, just let that like total stream of consciousness go, and it's gonna come through.
Okay.
and as you do it, divide your paper in half. So on the left side, ask your question, and on the right side, let your penguin answer.
Okay.
Right? So it becomes a conversation back and forth.
Okay.
And if you want to be really extra, do it with your non-dominant hand.
I will do my best.
So Matt, you also have a couple of spirit animals. So don't get fixated on just having one, because there are a bunch around you. And
That makes sense.
one is the possum.
I have no clue.
Okay, look it up.
I will.
Definitely look into that one. Spirit animals come into our life to help us get where we're going. They're not here to it's important to remember that they come in to help teach us and take us where we're going. It isn't about the here and now or the past. they are here to move you forward to that next phase. And so sometimes we don't always appreciate the animals that show up for us because they have lessons we don't really want to embrace right now.
Absolutely.
All right. Violet says, does anyone have a message about how to safely deal with my landlady next door neighbor? I'm not in a position to move right now. Violet, for me, this is the perfect thing to grid your space with or for. And if you didn't watch yesterday's video back, I know you were on the call, but watch it back, especially the part about gridding. I think you'll get a lot out of that, but that's a perfect way to manage the exchange of energy that's showing up between you and the landlady.
Another thing that you can do anytime there's some conflict in a relationship is to really focus on gratitude. And every day for a moon cycle, sit down and really think of what you're grateful for in that person and send loving energy, like literally get into your heart and offer and share best wishes for that person. Because when we get into that space and start to exchange that energy, that heart energy, it starts to shift the overall energy involved. It may or may not change some of the physical things that you have to deal with, but it will start to shift that energy for you.
Awesome. I don't know who was next. I was all distracted.
T, why don't you jump in?
Thank you. So my question is kind of pertaining to Saturday, because I know during the Akashic Records gallery read, Jami had read that I had connections to being a Native American shaman that really struggled when the tribe had passed away, and eventually it resulted in like suicide. And that's actually the second time I've been told that by somebody that was kind of reading my past lives before. So I guess my question would be, can I have a little bit more information or background about that, or any details that are able to come through about that? And I'm also curious about the shaman aspect of it and how to kind of explore that a little bit more, because I just don't know how to start to explore it, I guess.
Well,
Robin, you want to dive in on that one?
yeah, I mean, first, there's no need to dive into that past life anymore. You got the details that you were meant to get to help you move forward. So getting into the nitty-gritty of that life is irrelevant at this point. Like the key pieces came through that you were meant to get. So then it's about, what do you want to do with that moving forward? And what I'm hearing is that exploring shamanism, going through like a remembering process of what you knew before, is part of it. And so really playing around with, shamanic teachings and what speaks to you, because shamanism is a practice. It's not a religion. It is a practice of direct connection with all life, direct connection with the divine, and direct connection with all of spirit. And there's spirit in everything, especially in nature. And so shamanism is a practice, and there are a lot of different traditions. And so it's kind of exploring what traditions call to you, what traditions speak to you. So to join different, to read some books, or just do some exploration on your own, or join a class to kind of get a feel for what traditions are the ones that speak to you today. And it doesn't really matter if it's the same tradition that you once followed in a previous life, because what's going to happen is all of those traditions overlap anyway. And it's really about finding that path that you're like, oh, like that clicks for me. I want to keep moving into this. I want to keep moving forward with this. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Awesome. Doug,
All right. What is my connection to Donna? And is she in my near future?
you do have a connection, like a past life overlap connection with Donna. And it seems like there's something incomplete from that incarnation. Without going into her story a lot, there seems to be a pattern of relationships, someone leaving, like dying, before it runs its course, which leaves an energy of incompletion. Is there a future intersection with that energy? So the records are really good at telling how things happen based on past performance, you know, just like the stock market. When in reality, future performance has nothing to do with past performance. So if nothing changes and there's no vibrational difference, there's no additional intersection, you know, like nothing else gets activated. But you can always change any of your actions to alter your vibration or any of your decisions. She does have information for you that is important to assist you in acclimating to your incarnation here on Earth after what we talked about on Saturday. Sometimes there are pieces of that DNA structure that linger within us and causes like a ripple in being well suited here on Earth. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it actually does, because I'm at the point now where I'm ready to solve that. Because you know, in my cards, I've gotten past lives all the way back to, you know, when I was an Irishman and she was a squaw in Canada. I mean, back when the British Trading Company ruled the world. So it's been going on at least that long. And actually, I have ghosted her once already in this lifetime. You know, I wasn't ready. But now that I've learned this BCR technique, I'm ready. And so that's why I was wondering, I want to solve that karma.
Awesome. Take action then.
It requires action because you're not on a course at the moment to cross paths. But that can change, right? When you take action, that changes. Yeah, that's kind of what my cards have been telling me, just wait. Like she's being prepared. Yeah,
So-
you both have free will involved. And so at the moment, you're not on a path to cross, but that doesn't mean that won't change. And so it's especially take the actions that you can and be patient. There's definitely a patience aspect to this. Yeah, some tarot cards keep telling me that. I'm like, all right, no. Yeah, no, not yet. I think in the spring. Thank you. Lisa?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Robin, I know I sent you several questions via email today, but this is a personal question, if you don't mind me asking. I just recently this spring became certified in Reiki 1 and 2 as a practitioner, and it's going very well. You know, several people told me that things would be opening up to me as time goes on, and that's happening, and it's very exciting. I'm just wondering, is this something that you foresee me continuing to do in my future for a long time to come?
This feels like a stepping stone to me, not a landing point.
Okay,
Yeah, Jamie agrees.
really?
So for me, I was saying like, yeah, this is a gateway, like
Yeah.
to step into your own version of energetic modality that's like so much bigger than Reiki.
Ah, awesome. Can you, anything more you want to add to that?
Well, it's important that you go through this experience with Reiki and continue to practice, because it's through this that you're going to start to feel your own way and find the next piece for you. It's like the next link in the chain will come out of this, but you've got to keep with this for it to develop.
It's interesting that you say that, because in talking with my daughter, when I was contemplating even doing that, we both equally agreed that this is a stepping stone, to use your words. That was a feeling I had, but you know, what do I know?
A lot.
Right. You have all
That
your answers.
that just confirmed it, because that's exactly what we thought. So I don't know where we go from here, but I'll stay with it and we'll see.
Keep riding the wave.
Thank
Exactly.
you. Thank you.
So Allison asks, does Spirit have any suggestions for my next career move? This is what I get from that question. Stop making choices based on what other people think you should be doing, and do what feels right for you.
Yeah, I was immediately directed to both my heart and my solar plexus chakras, which gives me essentially that same answer. This is about having the courage to step into your own heart and to quiet the voices around. What lights you up? What's that thing that's been kind of quietly speaking to you? It feels like it's been kind of sitting on your shoulder for, like, I'm seeing way back since you were a little girl. What's that thing? Because that you want to chase that one.
Allison, you want to?
Feels like
Thank
it's sitting on my
Thank you
shoulder
so
here.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And if you need a little coaching around gently telling people that they aren't running your life, I'm not your girl.
I was just gonna be like, wait, Jamie, whoa, gently. This is not your forte.
I was gonna say, if you want a coaching around an effective way to tell them, I am your girl.
Deal. I like that option. Thank you so much.
So Jessie asked if there are messages for her mom, and I told her her mom didn't ask that question. So I want everybody to understand that when we answer a question, it has to be from or about the person who asked the question, just to maintain integrity around
It's
the
an
process.
ethical thing that we don't tap into somebody's energy who hasn't asked us to.
So, bring your mom to see me, we'll chat. And then she asked, will Matt and I ever have a baby that stays with us for the rest of our lives? You mean other than time, right?
There we go. All right.
Well, I've already had 2 miscarriages, so we're just wondering if we'll ever pass that.
Very proud of you, my friend. Very proud of you.
Robin, can you?
Yeah, that's what I was just feeling into. So just give me a moment. You can.
I meant, can you mute people?
Oh, who am I? Sorry.
It's okay. We're good. We got it.
Like, I don't know. Can I connect in? Can I do the texting? What do you want from me?
All of it.
All the things, Robin, all the
All
things.
the things, all at once. Oh, let's see. Give me just a second here. Takes me sometimes a minute to talk to the babies. Yes,
That's awesome.
yes.
See?
Oh, I got all the chills. Like,
Told you I talked to her on Saturday.
yeah. So the short answer to your question is yes.
Thank you, Robin.
Yeah.
So as Robin was like playing with the babies, because all the babies love Robin, I was covered in goosebumps, but I'm too close to you to answer questions like that. So I didn't want anybody to think I was just like putting pressure on Robin, but
Yeah, no, and Jesse, there's actually a ceremony that I think you would really benefit from. It's a womb. It's a ceremony it's a shamanic ceremony for women to reconnect and reclaim our womb space and to kind of cleanse that. I'll put something together and I'll offer that out soon. And remind me. And if I don't get it on the calendar here in the next month or two, you and I can connect for that.
Okay. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
and that really, it doesn't exclude Anthony and Doug and Matt and like other cool dudes.
Not at all.
It's available for everyone. It just happened to come up with that question.
Yeah, and that particular shamanic ceremony, there's just a different role for the men if they want to participate in it. They're absolutely welcome. They simply have a different role in that ceremony than the women do. And so I'm like getting the chills everywhere that it's time to offer that out. So we'll get that scheduled.
So let's take two more questions. Amanda has a question. Lisa, do you have another question or did you just not take your hand down? Okay.
I don't know how to take my hand down. I don't know
Don't
how
worry
to
about it.
ignore me.
It should say lower hand somewhere. I had to figure that out too in the beginning.
It's okay.
It's all
Got
good.
it.
We got
Got it.
Okay. So I'm going to ask Amanda, can you come off mute and give a quick rundown of what's going on with Randy so Robin can hear the details? And Randy's with you, right?
Awesome. Hold on one second.
Hi. Hi, Randy.
Hi, how's it going?
Good.
So I'm telling Randy about how I talked to you a little bit at the retreat about it, and then I sent a little email. So for years now, when he's sleeping, from my perspective, it looks like a seizure. From his perspective, he's trying to wake himself up physically. I know sometimes dreams are associated with that and sometimes they're not. I don't remember them as vividly as he may. Do you want to tell them like a little bit about maybe one of the dreams?
It happened like randomly in a dream, or like if I walk through a certain spot, I get stuck, or if it's a lit cigarette on the ground and I pick it up in my dream, I get stuck. It's kind of like that.
And you said sometimes something tries to communicate with you.
Yeah, a long time ago when I was sleeping and something spoke to me, and then I said, now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. In my mind, I said that. But then the person was like, you don't really mean that. You really mean that? And then I got stuck. This was actually while I was stuck.
So when you're stuck, do you feel like you're awake and you can't?
I'm definitely awake. I can hear what's going on around me. I can't move, but I can move slowly to try to inch myself. Like if I'm like in the bed, I can like try to juke myself to fall off the bed and wake up.
Or kick me.
Or I kick her so she can notice that I'm in that state as she try to wake me up.
Sometimes it's harder to wake him up. Sometimes he doesn't even remember getting stuff. And he may go a couple weeks without it happening. And then some nights it might happen literally every minute on the
Every
minute.
minute on the minute.
And it's scary as shit for me.
Robin's the dream expert.
Actually,
so-
one time it happened to me while I was awake a long time ago. I was living with my mother and them, and I was on a couch and I was flicking through channels, and then it happened to me. And then my sister looking at me like, because the door, somebody knocked on the door and I'm right next to the door, and she like, are you gonna answer that? Answer that. And I couldn't really say nothing. I just had the remote in my hand. And then she snatched the remote away from me. And that woke me up.
But were you awake with your eyes open or your eyes closed?
My eyes was open.
Your eyes were open in that moment. Okay. So two things. First, neither one of us are a doctor,
Right.
right? So naturally, this is something to share with whoever your medical professional is, and just make sure there isn't a physical something going on. But there's definitely an energetic piece to this for sure. And it's the piece that you keep saying, like, stuck, and there's certain things that happen that key into that stuck. And so one of the things that I would really recommend is that you, before you go to sleep at night, that you create sacred space for yourself. Because it does sound like, to me, that there are energies that are trying to communicate with you in your sleep. And I'm not getting a great feel from them. Right? It's some of the things that you're saying that are kind of keying in on that for me as well. So to set up sacred space, to maybe even create a crystal grid in your room, and then to be very intentional when you are going to sleep and just in your home of creating sacred space. Creating sacred space can be as simple as saying a prayer that you truly believe in. Or you can make it more elaborate and like create some ritual around that as well. But part of that I think it's important for you to create some sacred space around you before you go to sleep.
Doug had a good suggestion. He said that maybe a difference in the frequency between here, the waking state, and dream state. His daughter has a similar experience and calls on Jesus to break it. So that's an interesting suggestion about shifting the frequency.
Yeah, because and the energy that I'm getting, that there's a communication, almost a stepping between dimensions is the kind of the feel that I get. And so it's not like it's not like the devil is trying to, like hold you in your sleep and do bad things to you. That's not the energy that I get, right? It's not like there's a demon who's trying to like mess with you in your sleep. That's not the energy I get. It's more almost like a portal there's a doorway or a portal, and it's kind of getting caught between dimensions. And that's why if you set sacred space and be intentional about that, and intentional about, as I sleep, that I stay and remain in this dimension and get good rest, that should help quiet that down.
All right, I guess we can try that.
Give it a shot, right?
Yeah.
And if you need some additional like tips, or you want like something specific to create sacred space, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to share something that more specific that you could work with.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you everyone for jumping on with us tonight and having some really great conversation.
Yeah, these are really good questions.
They were.
Thank you guys for putting this together and doing this for all of us, because us
You're
weirdos,
welcome.
it helps us.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time to answer our questions.
You're very
Mm.
welcome. It's fun for us. We love this.
Absolutely. And then I get to talk to you guys, and Miles doesn't have to listen to me talk about weird shit for the rest of the night. So he says thanks too.
Right?
Welcome, Miles.
We got you.
Oh, Doug wants to know, he has one last question. When are we doing this again?
That's a really good question, Doug.
Yeah.
We don't have another Ask Us Anything on the calendar, but what is next, Jamie?
Next is our money class, the mystical, magical energy of money. So we'll share that with all of you guys. And I am totally open to doing another Ask Us Anything.
Absolutely. Yeah, this was fun. We'll do it again.
I love these. Yeah.
Yeah.
And T, we'll do it on Zoom just for you.
We'll keep it on Zoom.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us, and have an amazing night.
Have a wonderful night, everybody.